You started Pro Planner in Chile. How did you end up in America raising millions of dollars and kind of rewriting maybe a little bit of the playbook for scheduling?
Yeah, the company was Ipsum.
Hmm.
That was a startup I started in South America, and we were doing a little bit of everything, right? So after the pandemic, just I moved to the US and started everything from scratch with the focus on the scheduling and planning part of the world. Um, it just made sense, right? It was a blue ocean. It was a unique opportunity. It was something super important, and just started from scratch, man. It was tough, but it was the right move. Especially seeing today how it all went down, I think it was the right move. Um, so yeah.
Why scheduling? Because when I think of scheduling, I think we can all get kind of into this rut of like, well, the owner contract references P6. I put together a milestone schedule really early. I know there's going to be a disconnect between the milestone schedule that I produce through Precon and each of the trades are going to have their own schedule. My super is going to have a 6 week look ahead. Like that's just been kind of the status quo for a while. Why do
hmm
you think that? Why do we need something that is maybe more integrated?
Well, one, that's the exciting part, right? When you see something's been the same for a while, you know there's time for a change. So as an entrepreneur, you want to find those places where, hey, at least there's certain types of entrepreneurs, right? My style was always like, what is the biggest shit show in an industry, and let me see if I can fix it. Sorry, can I curse in the podcast?
Yeah,
Uh,
I
um,
think a majority of the folks that listen are spend some time in the field, so they've heard a
all right,
couple
awesome,
swear
even
words
better,
in their day.
even better. So that was one thing, and then when you research a lot about the industry and you understand construction and the workflows and the processes and the fact that the reality is in the field, not in the office, not the construction tech guy, whatever, um, you wanna empower that. You wanna
Hmm.
give them better tools. And the old tools, the old way of doing scheduling and planning is promoting unhealthy habits that typically end up in bad stuff,
Yeah.
right? End up in bad stuff like terrible coordination, bad relationship between the stakeholders, no clear plan on how to get back on track. Um, Ultimately, maybe claims, legal disputes. I don't know if you saw the reports, but claims in the last year have been higher than ever before. There is involving more money now than ever and more time than ever. So
It's not great.
how do we keep feeding the same unhealthy habits that keep ending up in the same way, right? So that's where the scheduling planning thought came up. It's like, dude, they're doing it with shitty tools. No one's supporting the field. No one's focusing on the field, and it's so important to any construction project. Like it's the plan, man. It's the
Yep.
freaking plan. So if that's not good, it's very hard to expect everything's gonna go out well. You can
Yeah.
have the best RFIs, the best submittals, the best everything, but if your plan is shit and no one is aligned, very hard to end up, on the right track.
Yeah. I
That
mean,
was my initial thesis, right?
yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people resonate with that. I mean, it's the map. It's the plan. If everyone has their own map, is anyone going to get to the same destination? Probably not. And I think that was my frustration, which was, I spent a lot of time as a PM driving kind of last planner methodology into
Mm-hmm.
the projects I was interacting with, and we'd have like pockets of excellence, but the pockets of excellence that we were applying last planner to was around the milestones that we were taking through the work streaming process, and yet any milestone or activity that wasn't necessarily gone through that process was getting kind of neglected,
Yeah,
and because there's just huge disconnect between all the different schedules. And so at one point, me and a few others at Whiting Turner produced this kind of new method of integrating the CPM with the last planner process, but it was very manual, right? And we
yeah,
had to, there was a big process changes. So when we started talking maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I was pretty excited about this idea of like a vertically integrated schedule that had all those elements. If you wanted to play last
exactly.
planner, you do that. But if you needed a CPM, you could kind of reference that. What has been, you're 3 or 4 years into this kind of experiment. What's been the response from the different stakeholders? So, like, what do the subcontractors think? What do the GCs think? What does the owners think about what you're building?
I mean, honestly, man, at this point, we've had a terrific reception from the field and upper management. The only area that has been a little bit stuck is on the scheduling side, because that's something that, those are processes that people don't want to change, and
Mm.
schedulers are very experienced and they want to maintain what they're doing.
Those
But
guys are
superintendent,
scientists. Like I think they like yeah they enjoy the nuances of
exactly,
P6.
exactly. A lot of them do, a lot of them don't, but a lot of them do. So that's been the roughest. But talking to superintendents, they get it, and they're like, you're trying to build something for me, empowering me, and giving me the power back of the job site, which is what should happen, right?
Yeah.
Um, and upper management, I mean, the same, because they're like, oh, you're centralizing everything. You're also giving me data that I don't have today. You're allowing me for better transparency and clarity of what's going on in the projects. Like, it all makes sense. What we do makes a ton of sense when you think about it, right? There's a reason why there's new players. There's a reason why the big PM tools are now launching their scheduling products or whatever. It just makes sense. We were the first one to really take a big stab at it. Um, and back to your point, yes, that was also part of the big vision. It's like, how do we connect that CPM to the last planner and make it, all into one connected platform that we can give a voice to the team in the field,
Hmm.
and they can build a plan they can trust, which is the most important thing, right? Because if you're planning for something and the team is like whatever, looking at the ceiling, looking at their phones, no one gives a shit about what you're planning. What's the point?
Yeah.
Right? So you want to come to something that everyone understands, everyone trusts, and then you can go build. And that's our main purpose, man. Like we're not trying to just recreate the wheel. We're just trying to make it easy for everyone. That's the,
Yeah.
the most important thing.
Well, and I think at the project level, there's frustration around just the quantity of tech that's available, and I think at times there can be some intimidation of the quantity of change management it's going to take to get the value out of a tool
Yeah,
or a new tool. What's your message to them? Maybe can you describe what the product is in just a couple sentences of like, can a project team tomorrow be like, hey, I just want to go try out build on this?
100%, 100%. So we didn't change the way that it's being done. So to be clear, like you go into Outbuild, the first thing you see is like your portfolio of projects, all the data of all your projects, depending on your profiles. If you're a user from one project, you go directly into the schedule. So you have your scheduling module that anyone that has ever built a schedule, they would know how to use it in a second, right? It's a construction focused scheduling tool. We got rid of everything that doesn't make sense and it's nonsense from MS Project and P6 and all these tools. And we added things that make sense for construction. So
Yep.
everyone will learn how to use that. Then the look ahead module is pretty much an evolution of the typical Excel, ugly Excel and sticky notes, full plans that everyone has. We just digitize it, make it better, and make it connected to the schedule. So from a change management and adoption perspective, you put a little effort, dude, you can get Outbuild running in a couple of days. Like
Hmm.
honestly, it's not hard. We did the hard part. The hard part is behind the scenes where we connected all the workflows, make it easy, like structure the data, make sure the look ahead is connected to the schedule, progress and dates, all those things. That's the hard part. We made it happen. From a user perspective, it's not hard. It's
Hmm.
not hard. Obviously, it depends on the company, man. Like there's some companies that are tough, and there's some companies that get it running in a couple of days. Like shout out to Russell. Russell is a ENR 400 company. They went with us company wide, dude. It was an initiative like from upper management, and they got it up and running like super quick, super quick,
Hmm.
because they saw the value. They were aligned with the vision of the product, and they were like, okay, let's get this done. It took, dude, a couple weeks.
There you go.
Obviously, they're still onboarding. Like it's a process,
Yeah.
but they got it down very quick. So obviously, it depends on the alignment of the company and the value that we're providing. But at
Yeah.
this point, we have more than 400 customers, dude. So we're working with a ton of companies throughout the country.
All right, sponsor break. Lars, real quick. When was the last time you got a new set of drawings from an architect and they didn't cloud anything?
Well, the one that cost me a couple $100,000 was back, I think, in 2017. So, yeah, lesson learned there.
Yeah. So what I like about what Trick Tools is building is they're looking at tools to help kind of remove the mundane from the job site. And I same as you. Every time there was a bulletin or an addendum, I would go back to the designers and ask them to at least highlight or give me a cover letter on the changes. And that was always like pulling like teeth. But Trunk Tools is now automating that. So you get a bulletin come in, it automatically highlights the changes. You don't have to do a thing.
Well, it's also hitting RFIs, right? It's also hitting submittals. And when we think about standardizing ops, right, and providing that, sort of resource to those field operators, what I see it as, it's sort of like this like mentor within the company that structures, standardizes, keeps it moving in the right direction, looks out for risk. And just this last week, I had a QC manager just pass along a submittal to an owner without doing a review because he was too busy, and it was wrong. And the classic owner statement is, "Did you even review this?" Right? So this to me is carte blanche. We absolutely did, and think about getting that first pass before your field manager ever even actually has to do the first pass. Someone's doing it for them. So to me, it's about speed. It increases accuracy and helps standardize ops out in the field, right?
Yeah, and this is the kind of AI that we've talked about on the podcast, really appreciating, right? Which is looking at ways to elevate the craftsman at the heart of project delivery.
Give me time back so I can be out in the field managing risk, right?
Yeah, 100%. So, all right, if you're a little curious, check it out, trunktools.com/podcast. And if you mention Construction Conversations, you get a discount.
Discount. Demos are free, and and you guys get a discount. So let's go.
That's right. What about pre-con? As labor continues to be squeezed,
Yeah.
pre-con is becoming more and more important. And we've had folks on the podcast kind of voice frustrations around the handoff between their pre-con groups and their field ops groups, and maybe the potential disconnect if they don't have those two functions more integrated. Does Outbuild support any kind of handoff? And this is off the cuff, I'm throwing you in the spot, but like, is that a problem that you guys have interacted with?
So that's something that we're putting some effort now. We've never been very focused on the pre-con side. There's a lot of players out there focusing on the pre-con side.
Yep.
They're not owning like the scheduling aspect. That's where we come in. We have some customers that are using Outbuild for the pre-con area. I feel like with all the improvements with AI that we're doing, all the agents that we're building, that's definitely going to help. So once we build like the scheduling, the look at all that stuff, then we jumped on how do we take this to the next level. So we're launching like templating, versioning, and obviously the AI agents that are going to support you building more quality schedules from day one. So if you think about teams, building schedules for bids and whatnot, like we're going to be able to empower them with a faster and better quality way of building schedules that are going to be more aligned with how the actual schedule is going to look like. So definitely something that with our current improvements is going to help, but we haven't been focusing hard on the pre-con side by any means. So I don't want to speak like an expert when there's other people that know way more about that area than myself. If that answers your question.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's lots to build, and I think being best in class in the scheduling category is a tall enough task. So I can respect the fact that those are some adjacent priorities. What about NPlan, Alice? I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago where there was a lot of focus on simulation and using whether it's a model as the foundation or as a database of historical schedules to add kind of simulation into kind of the planning process. Where's your head at in terms of how that fits into the product?
So these are all great companies. Nothing to say about them. Visionary products that they started a long time ago. Our approach was just different, man. Because the product has to make sense for the segment of the market and the type of users that you're building for. So we started mid-market. Mid-market was totally underserved. Every single startup back then, and even today, they're all focusing on the ENR 400. They want the big logos. And that's the big disconnect in this industry. Everyone's talking about what's happening with the top 100 companies. And what about the other 100,000 companies that are, building the rest of the country? So we focus on the mid-market, companies doing anywhere from 20 million, 30 million revenue to 600 million. There's a big pool of companies. So these companies, they were just looking for better tools, man. They weren't looking for, hey, I have my BIM model and it's updated for construction phase, which it's not. And we just want to optimize. Like, no, they were like, we're using MS Project, we're using Smartsheet, we're using Excel sheet. We just want to be better, man. And that's the product that we built. So our approach was, let's build a product that is better for them. Let's give them better tools. And as we do this, we're probably going to gain solid traction in a good number of companies that is going to give us great data, outbuild data from beginning to end, that it goes from upper strategy, milestone schedule to all the way down to tactical field level. So we're capturing data that makes sense and it's more the reality of job sites more than just schedules. So we believe that building this product and then getting to 400 or 500 companies and capturing all this flow of data was going to give us way more knowledge, way better data, and all the foundations for then when we take it to a more intelligent product and build AI on top of it, it's way smarter and more accurate. That was the approach, and that's what's happening now. And I feel like it's been a great approach, man, because we got to a level of traction that, I mean, it's solid. Like we build an 8-figure machine in revenue, and it keeps growing. And we have hundreds of companies, tens of thousands of job sites. So there's a reason why, right? There's a reason why we didn't build something super cool, PhD, whatever, that only the top 50 companies can use. We build something that the industry can leverage. And in the process of working with these companies, we learn everything so we can build the intelligence that we've been building, in the past, 6 months.
Yeah.
And I think it's great because when you look at our data and the AI that we're building, it's like, holy shit, we get to the level of like, how is PPC impacting the potential schedule creation and the schedule updates and all that stuff? And the other companies don't have that portion of it. They just have the schedule intelligence, right? So if you're feeding off of thousands of Primavera files, are you really building intelligence that also comes from the field? Like the field, the superintendents, the foremen, the PMs, those are the guys that know how to build, man. So you wanna learn from that input so you can implement it in the schedule.
That's a really good point, which is like how many P6 schedules or CPM schedules have we all interacted with that were put together by maybe one PM, 3 weeks into a job with 30% DDs. And if that's your historical reference, that's not accurately representing how it was actually built, right? And
Bingo.
And what's closer to that is going to be, hey, if you have a team or a whole project team of different stakeholders leveraging your last planner module or whatever it's called, you're going to get the actuals, which is the gold. So I think even a couple things there that you said. One was, who your ideal customer profile is, and you're serving that mid-market. I think that's so often missed, right? I think a lot of startups kind of think of construction as this monolith, and they just go after this giant TAM, and they miss the fact that there's so many different nuances. So the fact that you know your customer is huge.
You know why? I believe that's been the venture capital world in construction tech that has been misguiding founders.
I 100% agree.
And I've always been a proponent of that. It's like, listen, man, construction is a large industry. Like, there's a ton of companies. Why are we solely focused on the big logos? I mean, you love like the Turners and the McCarthy. That's great, dude. But what about all the other companies, man? No one's focusing on them. So that was our first approach. And obviously now we're selling to the enterprise world as well. Like, as we build a bigger company, a bigger sales team, now we have a product that you can sell to anyone, right? We can sit down and replace P6 right off the bat in any company. There's always going to be some things that they miss, but the little things they miss are nothing in comparison to the big things that they win when implementing a platform like Outbuild that has been built for them from day one, right? And the way we evolve, the way we build is way faster than anything they're using today in terms of incumbents. So, yeah.
So let's talk about the data and how you're leveraging that. You just announced the project intelligence
Yeah.
feature. What is that, and how does that make people's lives on site easier?
Yeah, so the project intelligence, which it sucks because now everyone's announcing construction intelligence, project intelligence. So I'm thinking we're
Naming
gonna have to.
naming is hard in the category of AI
I
right
think
now.
we're gonna have to rebrand that at some point. I don't know. The
Just give
whole
it a
idea
name.
around,
Name it like
yeah,
Bob or something, or Jack
no, the AI we're
or
definitely like
Sherry.
thinking of some sort of branding. For now, it's like we're more focused on the value than the branding.
Yeah.
Um, but the project intelligence is revolving around the schedule that is the most connected, right? So meaning, and this is something that we've been talking about since day one. It's like the schedules are always disconnected of everything, right? Even if you have the best scheduler in the world, if it's disconnected from everything else, it's going to change. It's going to change immediately. Uh, and by connected, I mean taking in consideration RFIs, taking in consideration submittals, taking in consideration deliveries, taking in consideration drawings. Like there's all these things that are going to impact your schedule, man. And if you're not connecting the schedule to anything, your schedule is absolutely worthless, in my humble opinion, right? Um, so that has been something we've pushed from day one. But today, the way we're connecting the schedule is a little bit different, right? You can do so many more things with technology today. So being the most connected is one, the most intelligent is the other one, which obviously it's tough to claim that because there's so many people trying to do the same thing. So we don't want to be so cocky that we're like we're the best. But like I said before, we're bringing so much more data, more valuable data from the field. So we believe that is making it more intelligent for sure because we're
Hmm.
including a lot of data points that make sense and make our engine and our intelligence a little bit smarter and more accurate than the traditional ones. Um, and then the third part is what is it? The most accurate. I forget the third part, but the idea is we're gathering all this data from high level milestone schedule, phase planning, tactical, weekly work plan, and we have all the data inputs from the field, from the office, how RFIs change, how submittals change the schedule. So that means the most intelligent. You're bringing more data, you're bringing more inputs, you're involving more people, and that means your schedule is going to be more accurate.
Hmm.
Um, and there's a lot of things that I want to mention, but we haven't announced them yet, so I'm going to keep them to myself. But if you follow our socials, you're going to see a lot of stuff coming. Like we're building faster than ever. And I'm not just saying that, it's true. We're building very, very fast. So there's a lot of announcements coming soon.
Let me ask the question that most folks in IT or in on the innovation side have been asked themselves. How do you treat the data? Who owns the data?
How do we treat the data? Oh man, we've been talking about this a lot. The data is owned by the customer, right? I
Yep.
mean, obviously, we're trying to help companies understand that if we can use the data and put it into our models, like it's gonna be a best outcome for them, right? But a lot of companies are very sensitive to that. So um, we've been working a lot on like the contracts and what it's saying and all that stuff. And honestly, it's the boring part of what we do. It's a pain in the ass, but we gotta do it. Um, but the idea here is that companies need to understand that in this level, their data is nothing proprietary, man. Like the way
Yep.
you build schedules and look at it, it's like what is going to happen? Like your competitor is going to see that data and it's going to like, oh, win every single bid against you. Like it's not going to happen. We're just feeding off their data, improving the model, and then providing them with more value.
Yep.
So I understand companies are a little bit more sensitive to that, but the more open you are with that, the better the outcome for the company and for the industry. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't want to put any any like I don't know intense wording out there that companies are going to be sensitive to. We just need to understand their worries and their I don't know
I think your first point is
their
spot on
fears.
though, which is like I think it starts with understanding where is the real IP, and if you don't know that, and you're thinking all of your data is IP, you're starting in the wrong spot. And I think a lot of companies, your IP truthfully is in the mind of the people that work for you. And so, there needs to be a lot of work in digitizing kind of that expertise in your people and figuring out how to operationalize some of that. But yeah, your RFI data maybe there's some nuggets in there, but probably not the means and methods you think there is.
And the value you get from sharing that data and getting better intelligence from the products you use is much larger than what you're losing or risking by sharing your data. That's the reality, dude. I've seen dozens of thousands of projects at this point, if not more, and the data is very similar, man. Let's just be honest. The data is very similar. I've had companies being like, "Oh, dude, this is our proprietary look ahead spreadsheet. It's unique to us," and it's like, bro, I've seen that in 3 continents. Not trying to be an asshole, right? But it's true. So we can help you make that way better. Just trust us. We're not out here to get your data and steal it and make your life miserable. Quite the opposite. We're here to just empower you with better tools. That's our sole mission, man. That's our sole mission. We're not like a sneaky company out there that is using your data in weird ways. We're just building a better product. That's pretty much it. No one's coming to get you, man. That's the thing.
Just a naming idea for your AI platform. Mm-hmm. There's a superintendent I used to know, and his name was Wilbur Knuckles, which I thought was the best construction name I'd ever heard. In the off chance that you're listening, Wilbur, I think I told you have the best name in construction. But I feel like I would type into an AI named Wilbur and figure that he knew what he was talking about. So
let's take it in consideration.
Let's talk about just the narrative around SaaS. I think anyone who's on LinkedIn or Substack, there's a lot of pronouncements of SaaS being kind of a dead entity. For someone who is building actively with momentum and you've been through COVID, you've been through these different cycles, what's the reality of the situation we're in with AI and what it's going to do to SaaS?
Let me start by saying that I'm absolutely bored of all the virtue signaling on LinkedIn of RIP, this and that. It's to any founder that's listening, dude, just listen to people that have done it and know what they're talking about. Don't listen to the guy that is a LinkedIn influencer and then you see their profile and they haven't done anything ever. That's first. I hate the people just claiming stuff. Today, dude, after the A16 report, you see people coming and be like, this is the future of construction. And they're from a different industry. And it's bro, what do you know? Yeah. So that's the first thing. Let's listen to the people that are involved in the industry, understand the industry, and have done something in the industry. Now, after saying that, I will say, obviously, the SaaS world is changing. It's already changed, actually. Yeah. And the future is clear. The SaaS is dead argument, it might make sense, but the reality is, even the new products that you see out there, super elaborate, cool products are coming out AI first. They're going out to get data from certain systems of record, right? Yeah. So the narrative is we're going from systems of record to systems of action and intelligence and all that stuff, but you still have to have some system of record where you go and get the data. Yeah. And the reality is our industry is very, very visual, and people still understand from looking at things. So even if you can have an engine that goes and looks at your RFIs and gives you the answer or whatever, people still want to go and look at the RFI. People still want to go and see the drawing. People still want to go and see the schedule. So you're still going to need those systems of record and that data. Now, if you put intelligence on top of it to make it smarter and access data easier and connect the endpoints, way better. Yeah. But I don't think our industry is going to be screw all the systems of record we have. I want everything AI. I'm going to be a superintendent. I'm going to be on my phone. I'm going to be what are the RFIs that I have today? This isn't that. Okay, great. I know exactly what to do. They're still going to want to go and see a list of those RFIs, see the status, see those things. We're in a visual industry, man. And sadly, our industry is one that you can't just rely on a chat that is going and getting data. You need to see things for yourself. So I don't believe in construction SaaS or the systems of record are done. I don't believe that approach yet. I still believe there's a lot of valuable things. But obviously, where do we take this industry is with these systems of action, right? There's less people in the field. It's harder to find people. You want to empower the current teams with better tools that can do more for them. That is absolutely true, right?
Yeah.
That is absolutely true. Um,
Well, and I think you make a good distinction, which is like beyond the hyperbole of like SaaS is dead, which, creates, the clickbait situation,
yeah,
is
yeah,
really just the thesis that SaaS is changing and the business model is having to change with it, right? And I think to your point, if you have a real company with real customers that trust you, you're going to change and adapt to the needs of your customer base. And one of the conversations you and I have had is like one element of that change is just this kind of agentic reality that we're going to start living in,
yeah.
which is maybe a percentage of your user base isn't just humans, it's also agents that are leveraging your system of record and doing different things. Have you started to like think through what that future state is going to start looking like in terms of agents and the role they might play
For
in
us,
scheduling? Yeah.
for us, yeah, 100%. We're already building that world. Um,
Hey guys, if your experience was anything like mine when I was a PM, change orders were kind of a pain. You send the change order, then you spend the next 2 weeks chasing it. Subs are texting you updates. Meanwhile, you have a change order log buried in email. Your spreadsheet doesn't match theirs, and you're just trying to figure out what's actually been approved. Meanwhile, your subs are waiting on answers so they can get paid. The owner doesn't really have the visibility they need into cost exposure, and nobody finds out that the numbers don't reconcile at all until closeout. At which point, everyone suddenly disagrees about everything. That's not a people problem, it's a systems problem. Everybody on the job is working at their own setup. Your ERP, their spreadsheet, someone else's inbox. Change orders end up getting stuck in the middle of all of it. Well, ClearStory fixes that. It's a shared cloud-based change order log where GCs, specialty contractors, and owners all see the same information in real time, which is key. Submit and track their work. GCs stay on top of status. Owners see cost exposure before it becomes a surprise. No more digging through email trying to reconcile the logs at closeout. Just change orders under control, which is a unique concept. Check it out at clearstory.build.
so yeah, like you said, it's all these tasks and activities that teams do today that add zero value, but you need to do them, right? Typical example is the PE working on submittal logs all day, looking at the schedule, looking at the submittal log, and figure out something. Like agents are able to do that now and automate that and make it way better. So teams are gonna be more focused on really analyzing and making better decisions. But all those little tasks that are a pain in the ass that no one wants to do, those are already disappearing, right? So field teams are going to be able to do much more with less. In our world, you're thinking about agents that can help you make better decisions with all the data and all the intelligence that is built on them. So you're behind schedule, agents that can help you get back on track. Like, what is the best path moving forward? How do we optimize this, right? You're thinking about agents that can give you, automated health scores so you can improve the quality of those schedules. You're thinking about schedules that can build an initial schedule for you based on certain specifications. You put your drawings, you put some special stuff from this project, and it can build a schedule for you with top quality, considering all the standards of scheduling. So all those things that take a lot of time, that's where agents really come in and provide with a ton of value. But you still want people to analyze it, right? You still want people to look at the schedule. You still want people to, validate that. And that's where I think schedulers are gonna move into. Instead of just like, you have companies that have hundreds of projects and they have a few schedulers building schedules, updating schedules. That's not gonna be the case, right? They're gonna be analyzing the schedules, figuring out best paths moving forward. But the idea is that you don't have anyone in P6 all day just updating the schedule or creating a schedule from scratch. All that intelligence, all that knowledge will be built in the platforms that they should be using. And even if you look at the incumbents, like OPC is doing that as well. right? The world is going in that direction. But construction is an industry that at least we feel that we still want the expertise and the input from, the people that are out there.
Yeah.
Like we don't want to replace the intelligence or the knowledge and the experience of a superintendent. Like no, but we want to give them the best tools so they can, with this knowledge and this intelligence, they can make better decisions. Like there's not going to be an AI that is going to be replacing a superintendent anytime soon, right? Nor a scheduler. Their jobs are just going to evolve, and they're going to be much better, and they're going to be able to tackle more activities, more projects, more stuff. So yeah, I mean, we're all working towards the same direction. If you look at every startup, we're all in the same path of like, we build this SaaS, it's great, we have all this traction, and now we're making it smarter. We're eliminating all the dumbass little tasks that no one wants to do, and agentic AI can take care of that, right? But I don't think there's going to be a world where like, oh, scheduling is done by itself.
Yeah.
It's like what Jivan said about robots, right? Everyone's thinking about a construction world where robots are doing and everything, and not really. Like the robots that are getting more traction are the ones that are being leveraged by humans so they can do way more, way better work. I feel like it's
Just
the same.
narrow applications, huh?
Yeah, I feel like it's the same.
What about, I think in that scenario that you're kind of outlining, if you have these agents that can kind of crawl the internet and interact, upstream with different, maybe procurement applications and material tracking applications, and bring that context back to your schedule, and then go downstream and communicate with maybe a vendor or a subcontract. I just feel like there is a role to be played where if the schedule is attempting to be your plan is reliant on a lot of different inputs. Yep. Right now, those inputs are gathered by humans and aggregated. And for 1 second of time, in reality, they're accurate. And then after that, they're not. I think in theory, there's so much white space for agents to just go gather inputs more effectively and make that plan more dynamic, right?
Exactly. That's where agents, like, this is my opinion, right? I have an input, doesn't mean it's the reality, but this is my opinion. Like specific agents, like specialist agents, is going to be much more valuable than just having one AI to rule them all, that it's going to be the smartest fucking thing. Like if you're working towards that, awesome. But let me tell you, it's going to take some time before that is like massively adopted. Versus if you build specific agents that take care of clear processes and they're very good at what they do, because it's much easier to do an agent that is really, really good at what it does if it has a specific, specialized workflow. I'd rather have multiple agents that do different things. And then ultimately, it helps you, like you say, taking care of material information, taking care of like RFIs information, taking care of like a lot of different things that you want to centralize into one platform where you don't have to look anywhere else. And in here, you have the truth of everything, right? Same with automatic progress. Like we want to build bring the automatic progress to the schedule. That's the future of construction, man. That's the future of construction. All those things that took a lot of work and time from people that you don't want them to be dedicated on that. That's where agents are going to be building that, centralizing data, and then constantly learning and improving all that stuff. At least in the next, I don't know, man, in the next few years. I don't know what's going to happen in fucking 5 years. Like I have no idea. And I don't think anyone does. And anyone that says they know what's going to happen in the next 5 years, they're bullshitting because I don't even know. So that's my opinion on what in the short midterm we're going to be building well. And that's what's coming. So,
what about to the project team members who, like in this age of AI, the barrier to entry has even been lowered in the tech space, and so there's probably even more noise around potential applications out there. What advice would you give to those folks who, are getting pitched constantly, and separating real from kind of just marketing fluff or performative something? What's the method of kind of trying to evaluate tech these days?
Well, I guess we talked about that a little bit last time, right? It's like there's a big concept of trust in construction. Our industry is an industry where data needs to be accurate, when an industry where like the product needs to be validated very well before someone like has that trust to use it and believe in that product. So when you have new companies, they can have a big shiny product. It's awesome. It promises a lot of things, but the reality is their knowledge of the industry implemented into the product is in very early innings. So there's going to be a big learning curve to take that product. And it happened to me too, man. At the beginning, you're like, oh, we're building this and it's awesome. But when I look back, I was like, dude, I had no idea of all these things back then. So the knowledge that you can put in that product, it takes some time, right? So the shiny products, the shiny founders that came from Meta and now they're building something for construction, unless they have some sort of experience in the industry, I mean, give them a try. I'm not saying obviously don't give them a try, but it takes some time to earn trust in this industry.
Yeah.
Like, look at the startups that did something cool or are doing something cool. It takes some time, man. It takes some time to have that traction, to have that level of people know your brand. They know you work with certain companies. They know you have results. There's a ROI on what you're doing, and now they're willing to, okay, let's use this in several projects that are worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
So there's a learning curve that you have to go through, man. Like, you can't skip that. You can't skip the learning curve in construction because you're very smart and you have this AI super intelligence algorithm. Like, not really.
Yeah.
And you see that from all these AI platforms that came out years ago. They had a very cool product, very elaborate algorithms, but they're still in their early innings of traction. You can't skip that. You can't skip that learning curve. And once you go through it or you're in the middle of it, great. Like, you're going to be able to scale the company and it's awesome. But I mean, if you look at the startups that are doing great stuff like Document Crunch, Josh came from the industry. Smart PM, Mike came from the industry. Clear Story, Cameron came from the industry. So these are people that knew the pains and they were building specifically for that. If you don't know anything about the industry, you're going to start building a lot of things that your early customers are going to tell you, but you're not building for the mass, right? And I went through that. I wasn't in construction at the beginning, so it took me years, man, to learn what we're doing.
Yeah.
Years. So anyways, I'm not throwing shade at new founders building stuff, but I'm saying let's put some cold water on the craziness on, like, this founder came from this. Let me give you $30 million. We've all seen how that paid out, like, in the last few years, man. So you gotta earn your badges.
100%. And the way I think that you can discover that pretty quickly is, like, are they approaching you with humility, and are they able to layer their product into kind of workflow scenarios that land with you specifically? And if they don't do those two things, in my book, they don't really know what they're talking about. And so those are two huge things in my book.
The humility, I couldn't agree more. And I'm not trying to get philosophic here, but if you're a founder coming into the industry, you can't be like, we are the number one tool for this. We're revolutionizing. And I've seen that so many times, even from competitors of ours. Yeah. It's like, dude, relax. Like, you can't come in all aggressively, like, I'm the best, like, we're the first one. It's like, have some humility, show that you're building something great. And I feel like our team has done that very well. Like, we've always been a little bit behind the curtain, not crazy out there. And we built a great freaking business, man. Great business. Cool. So I feel like that's important in this industry as well. There's a lot of fluff, a lot of showing, a lot of being in all the events. And I feel like the E&R, the Bill Worlds of the world, they need to help the industry understand this, right? There's got to be real work put into these companies, real proof, real trust, real usage before you hype up companies, man.
Yeah.
Anyways,
and I
can talk about all day, man. It happens in every industry, but in our industry, it's even worse.
Yeah. Well, and I think your perspective there, I think, shows up in how you guys market. Like, you guys did the live webinar with Matt Graves. I thought that really landed well. I think the marketing in construction tech has some real flaws to it at times. And I think it's that humility piece that's often missed. It's the humility and it's the lack of domain understanding. It's a really intricate space, and if you approach it with the wrong tone,
Yeah.
even if you have a great product, you're gonna lose a lot of people.
Couldn't agree more. I hope a lot of people listen to you when you say that. Being a construction guy, have working in several companies, because it's important, man. It's important. You gotta prove yourself and do the work before you can even claim like you're revolutionizing, you're transforming the industry. It's like, dude, relax.
I
Like,
mean, I
build a
joke,
great
but
business,
like,
and then you can.
and it's almost like we're at the point where anti-marketing should be the strategy. It's like if a company comes out and says, these are actually a few things I don't do well, these are the things I do really well,
Yeah.
I'm immediately like, I'm scrolling, I'm probably like I'm clicking in. If it doesn't have any kind of like self-deprecating anything, then I kind of don't trust it. So
Okay.
I think that's like, I don't know. That should be an approach for someone. It's just like, try the opposite of every marketing book that you've read. you've read.
Yeah. I mean, websites are always going to paint the best picture, right? But at least when founders are out there and they're talking, I like when people are very blunt, straightforward,
Yeah.
open about things. Like, I've been in podcasts saying like, "Oh, this is not good," or "We suck at this," or "We haven't, I don't know, figured this one out." Because it's true, man. It's
Yeah.
true. You can't be like always everything great. I do the same with investors. Like, investors are asking me stuff, and I'm like, "Yeah, like that's not going well." And even when we talk between founders, every founder is always like, "Oh, we're fucking crushing everything's incredible," and then you talk to their investors, and they're like, "No, this shit is going down in flames, dude."
Yeah, that's
So
a real thing. You see a founder at a conference, and they're having their best day ever.
dude, incredible. Everything is like rocket ship. So that humility portion should be applicable to everything, and I agree with you 100%, man, 100%. Yeah.
So, a big contingent of the folks who listen to this podcast are field operations folks, and I think we've talked a bit about the kind of citizen development kind of side of AI, and more people doing more with their own kind of tech stack. How do you think about serving a community of users that are also kind of building stuff on their own, right? Not necessarily like full scheduling platforms, but like they're maybe building an MCP integration or like, I feel like we're at this convergence of like users becoming more technical.
I think that's great, man. I feel like this empowerment that is coming with all these tools that allow you to build stuff, I feel like it's great because you see like SMB companies, like small players, like mom and pop shops and stuff that are building their own product. And I feel like it's freaking awesome, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's empowering them to build their own tools. The challenge there is people need to understand that building a software company is not like, let me vibe code a platform and I see it and it's awesome. It's way more than that, man. It's way more than that. Like, we have very intelligent people in our team, right? We have a team of engineers, product people, salespeople, and we're using the same tools. So you can't think like you're gonna come in and build like in a few days the same product at the same speed that a company like Outbill or similar companies are doing, because it's not the case, man.
Yeah.
Like, you can just go and be like, let me build me a construction scheduling product that has all this. Dude, it's been years of us polishing, improving things, improving workflows, getting to the nitty gritty of things, making sure everything's connected, maintaining it, improving performance, like building all this infrastructure, security. Like, it's not a thing that you can just build in a few days vibe coding. But it is true that for small things, for like, I don't know, like a $10 million home builder that wants to build a dashboard coming from different tools and they want to vibe code it, that's freaking awesome. And I highly encourage everyone to do that, because it's great, man. It's empowering them with better tools, with their control of things, and not having to rely sometimes on, I don't know, shitty companies or custom software companies that are, building something bad and then leaving you with spaghetti code or whatever. So I feel like that's great. That's a great thing, but I want to just put some caution on, like, you can just go and vibe code everything. Like, you're not going to vibe code Procore. You're not going to vibe code frigging like Clear Story. It's not going to happen. So let's leave, you know, the robust stuff for the experts, and then obviously if you want to do a few things, that's freaking great. But it takes years to build what a startup builds in years, because we have the same access to the same technology, man. That's the reality,
Well, and
right?
I think there's a misunderstanding around a company, a business that is cash flowing is different than an app, right? And so like you've built a business, you have a
A
customer
product is not a
base,
company. Yeah, a
right?
product is
And
not a company.
so, I mean, the whole meme of like everyone's building an app, no one has users
Yeah.
is pretty funny. Um, so maybe along those lines, there's I wrote an article recently about the kind of total addressable market for SaaS kind of
Hmm.
being changing, and I think it's 500 billion is kind of what is estimated as the total addressable market for just SaaS in general, versus like 5.5 trillion for services,
Hmm.
and how with AI and these agents, there's a merging of the opportunity between SaaS versus maybe consultancies. Are you seeing this opportunity in front of you where it's like not just you building software to enable a user, but maybe even outbuild doing your scheduling? Like, is that in the future for you?
Um, like adding the service layer to
Yeah.
it. I mean, I'm gonna say something and it might not be popular, and hopefully someone listening doesn't get mad at this, but it's true. There's a lot of consultancy in our industry that software is already replacing, right? So a lot of these companies have to either evolve or just understand that those services are not going to be needed in the future, because the intelligence portion of the softwares that companies like Outbuild are building are going to be able to provide that within the platform. And I don't want to give specifics because I don't want to attack directly a certain type of companies, but you know what I'm saying. Like there's a lot of consultants that come in and they help you build something or understand something. And now GCs with all the new technology and all the agents and all the intelligence and all that stuff, they're going to be able to have that at their fingertips at every single minute. So the need for those additional services, which is a large industry, by the way, it's not going to be the same as it was for the last 2 decades.
Yeah.
So those companies need to either evolve, use that technology at their advantage, or I don't know, figure something out,
Yeah.
right? Again, I don't want to mention the services, but I think you know the ones that I'm talking about. Um, like, yeah, I'm gonna skip that part, but yes, to answer your question, yes. Like there's so many services that are being provided to GCs because they either don't have the people to do them, or hiring hasn't been easy, so they just go to agencies or consultants, and now software is definitely gonna be able to fill in that gap for sure,
Yeah.
because a lot of those services is just hours
Yeah.
of work that you don't have, and you just stop contract.
Yeah.
It's like what startups were doing with. This is a good analogy. Like when startups were um, offshoring or hiring engineers from another company because they didn't have enough people and they want to do it cheap or something. No one's going to be doing that now, I think. Like
Yeah.
if you can leverage technology to your favor, why are you going to go and hire a company that provides you with offshores engineers? I don't know. Unless the big companies are going to keep doing it, but startups, absolutely no chance. Like you can have 3 engineers doing the work of 10 engineers in the last
Mm.
5 years ago. Um, so I feel like that's exciting. It's scary. It's scary because you don't know like how is this going to evolve, but it's
Yeah.
exciting. It's exciting because the world is moving fast. We can do a lot of things. We can do things that we didn't even think that were possible, and and the general contractors as well, right? They're more empowered than before. So
Yeah.
hopefully a lot of GCs, not only the big dogs, but a lot of GCs are paying attention and using these tools to their advantage, man.
How much margin, or more importantly, how many headaches have you had as a result of margin lost to something that was buried in the documents? A requirement in the spec that didn't match the contract, a flow down clause that shifted risk nobody caught, a conflict between drawings and addenda that showed up 3 months too late as a denied change order. I'm sure each of you guys are experiencing a bit of the cold sweats just thinking about some of those scenarios. So these aren't rare events, as you know. They happen on nearly every project, and most projects just absorb the loss because there hasn't been a better way to manage it. That's what Document Crunch is changing. So, Document Crunch is the AI risk management platform built for you guys. It reads construction documents the way your best expert would, identifying and verifying risk with answers you can trust and trace. The trace part of that is really important, as we found with some of these other AI tools out there. Here's what makes it different from general AI. Crunch AI verifies before it answers. Every answer traces back to the exact document, page, and clause it came from. So when your decision gets tested in an OAC meeting or a change order dispute, you know you are on solid ground. It's not just about finding a risk, it's about making sure risk is identified, tracked, and acted on, so nothing gets lost between pre-con and the field. Construction has accepted preventable loss as a cost of doing business for far too long. Document Crunch is setting a new standard. Learn more at documentcrunch.com/construction conversations. Check them out.
I mean, when I think back to when I used a schedule consultant, it was typically when I was trying to craft what actually happened and, build a narrative around what happened
Mm-hmm.
and needed to build that back into P6. And it was going to take so many hours of my time to do that.
Yeah.
Because I hated P6. And so I would hire a schedule consultant. Shout out to Don Rote, one of the best. And he would go in and he would just absolute magic. And so I think there is this future where if you can communicate with an AI agent or some kind of assistant and say, hey, this is what I want built. Like, I think you use Notion for like your personal note
Our
taking.
team uses Notion. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan, but yeah, we have it.
So like what I love about Notion is there's a little app, like it's just Notion AI. And so I really never interact with Notion, the app itself. Just this little AI thing. And I say like, add to my tasks the following. Hey, I have a content idea. And it like puts it in the right page, in the right formatting. And so if I can communicate with my schedule via natural language like that, that like is amazing. Build that, Franco.
And that's not the future. That is the present, my friend.
Is it a present? You guys already have that feature?
It's there. It's there. Our customers are not leveraging yet, but it's there. So yeah, that's definitely a part of what we're doing. But you gotta be transparent that technology is gonna have to evolve. Like it's not like you put it out there and it's already like excellent. Yeah. Like the knowledge and the experience of a scheduler that's been in the industry for 40 years, it takes some time to have that knowledge. So you got to keep feeding the product, improving it, and that's where the data comes in handy. And there's also different styles. Like you got to understand that as a founder. There's different styles. Yeah. There's no one scheduler that is like the best and he knows everything. There's styles. There's different ways of doing things. So the more variety you can bring into, the more flavors, the more diverse you can be, because maybe a scheduler that is very much focused on data centers is going to have different ways of doing things than a scheduler that is very much focused on home building, right? Very different products, very different projects.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So you can't have like one ring to rule them all immediately. Like you need to start learning and specifying. So I think it's going to take some time, but yeah, that's the present, man. That's where technology is at today. Is it excellent? It's getting there. But it's going to take some time to improve that and get to a point where a scheduler is confident enough that he's going to be like, I don't know, implement this. We're going to add a pool, whatever, like change my schedule, add it to the schedule. And you're going to see and you're going to be like, this is fucking perfect. This is exactly what I would do. It's going to take some data, knowledge, and back and forth, right? And you get that from customers, dude. So like you said before, even if you can build a product, you don't have the users, you don't have the data, you don't have the customers, you don't have the back and forth, you don't have the improvement. So building the product is just one part. It's just one point in the story. Yeah.
Well, I know you've got a company to run. So last question. You're 5+ years into this. What is the advice you would offer yourself previously as you're kind of first walking into Ipsum or starting Ipsum, of what you've learned?
I'm going to give advice from where I started Outbuild because I feel like I was a little bit more knowledgeable. But the typical advice that I give to founders, I feel like one is focus. That is probably the biggest one. Focus. A lot of
Yeah.
founders get distracted by everything, man. When you start a company, you have people inviting you to shit, to events, to like startup competitions. You want to win awards. You have a company in Dubai reaching out to you because they saw your website, and they get distracted by everything. And that's when you see a lot of founders that are always in like awards and shit. And it's like, dude, are you running a company or what? So I've done some podcasts, but in 5 years, I've been in like what, 5? And then you have founders that are every day they're doing something different. So I feel like
Hey,
focus is a
don't
big one, man.
discourage the founders from joining these podcasts.
No. But you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like,
yeah, I hear you.
you got to focus. And focus
Yep.
means not only focusing on your business, but focusing on the things at hand. So at the beginning of the company, you don't know who your customers are. So as you start learning who your ideal customer is, then focus on that ideal customer. Focus your go-to-market motion in that segment. Focus your product, evolution in that segment, and then start evolving from there. If you build,
that.
if you're defocused on everything, you're not going to achieve much, and you're just going to have like a few things to show for it. But if you really focus, you turn off all the switches, and you focus on the task at hand, the ICP at hand, the next goal at hand, then you're going to be able to reach those milestones, right? As a company, we've always been like, turn off everything. This is the path. Until we get to 3 million, we're not changing anything. Once we get to 3 million, we're going to have enough customers, data, resources to do this. Then let's do this. Once we get to 5 million, okay, great. We're going to be able to do this. Focus is the name of the game, in my opinion. So focus is one. I feel like learning the craft is another one. Like learn. Like we were discussing before, learn with humility, ask all the questions, learn for a long time before you even have bold claims out there, right? That's another one. The third one, and this is super important too, is like surround yourself with people that are way better than you at doing anything. So when I was building Ipsum, my first company, I didn't know shit, to be honest. So I did all the mistakes in the book. And one of the mistakes was just trying to be over everything. Because as a founder, I thought, dude, I know what the customers want. I know how to sell better. I know how to do these things. And then when I started building Outbuild, I was like, who knows way more construction than me and knows how to connect to people way better than me? So I brought someone like that. Who's been in the industry from every single aspect. And I brought someone like that. And our leadership team complements everything. And they do everything way better than me. And then everything under them, everyone in the team under them, they're also very good at every little thing. So as a founder, just need to know who do you surround yourself with. And hopefully they're way better than you at every single aspect. And you're just that support, that leader that is always helping them be better, achieve more, and gather all the resources for them to do their job. So surround yourself with the best people is the name of the game, man. When you look at the OpEx of a startup, it's mostly talent. So if you have good people, you're always going to figure out. Even like I've seen companies that had pivoted their product like 100%, like 180, but because they had the right people, they were able to do it in a great way, right? So yeah, I think it's better to have an A player than 3 B players. So a lot of times we hire the person that we can't afford with our budget. And then as a founder, that's your job, right? Being able to find that budget so they can hire the A tier player. So yeah, we've always been focusing on bringing top players as humans and as professionals, and as humans first. Because you can have an A player that is like great, super productive, but if he or she, they're kind of an asshole, like you don't want them in your team. So it's got to be someone that is like good at what they do, but also good humans. And that's the name of the game, man. That's the name of the game.
That's huge.
So yeah, those 3 are, I think, are my best pieces of advice. There's way more, but those are the important ones.
No, there's some gold in there. Well, Franco, and we're out of time, I know, but thanks for joining. This was a good chat. I appreciate you
my pleasure,
taking
brother.
the time, man. All right.
My pleasure, dude. Thank you.